Hey. Let's get the screen right. So how are you? It is Tuesday. So it's Tuesday. Yeah, it is. So if you're new, which you most probably are, because this is one of the very few first videos I've actually been posting on YouTube, just say welcome. Really glad like you've taken time out to watch my video, and also I'm hoping that you're the kind of woman that wants to grow with me, and we progress together. So this is not like, for me, this is part of my personal growth, to kind of go out, be out there a little bit more and talk more about the things that I'm passionate about, which is really women in business, and shaking down different stereotypes and just understanding women behavior so that we can make things better. So I've been doing a series on boundaries, and I wanted to touch on one of the key things that sometimes we tend to ignore as women. We know everyone else, but the one thing we tend to ignore is ourselves. The most important thing in knowing anything is knowing your own boundaries, knowing what works for you and what doesn't, who works for you and who doesn't, knowing when works for you and when doesn't, knowing how works for you and how doesn't. So I'll break that down a little bit. So knowing what works for you and what doesn't. So just the way you're built, just like when they say when you're trying to lose weight, know what works for your body, know what your body retains, what your body doesn't, what your body likes, what your body doesn't. Do a quick study in yourself. Know what triggers you. So in one of the videos I touch on what you call in marketing SWOT analysis, which basically covers you looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, opportunities, and your threats. And I change the threats to triggers. So this is part of knowing what gets you displaced and out of space. So I'm currently working on a book called, actually now, I might have mentioned it in another book, but at the moment the working title is Think Like a Woman, because I've started to question the way society has always had us wanting to function like men in a man's world. So therefore it becomes more of a man's world. But men actually need the balance of the femaleness that we bring to the scene, which is why we're created the way we're created. We were not created as men so we can think like men. We're created as women so we can think as women and develop that, because there is power in owning that. Oh yeah, quarantine nails. So you can see there. Anyway, as you dare. But yeah, this is quarantine here too. gotta keep on top of things. So that's another thing that I'll cover when it comes to scheduling, when it comes to always being consistent with who you are until you reach your ultimate vision, your ultimate goal. So back to the note on knowing your boundaries, knowing where to set the limits. So the whole thing about not everyone being for you is now learning what you can handle. I know I can't handle someone shouting at me for lengths of time or talking very loudly for lengths of time. So I have now devised a mechanism, because some people talk loud anyway, naturally, where I can tone it down in my own head, because for me that triggers anxiety. It triggers being bullied. It triggers it triggers like old school memories of teachers who are not so courteous with their language, or relatives who are not so courteous with their language. Because my mom and my dad were always very mellow. even though my parents were quite strict. So it's things like that where in business as a woman, we have to stop trying to be the aggressors as the men, because it's not in us. We're not built that way. We're built to be soft, and don't take soft as a weakness. Soft is we are aware of emotions. We are aware and can control emotions, which is what we can master. So as part of boundaries, it's knowing where to draw the line. So I always say that your personal boundaries will filter into your business boundaries. So if you can't draw limits in your personal life, that will show through in your business life. So really, excuse me, it's always starts off with internal work. As we know, it always starts off with internal work. It always starts off with focus. You didn't get to having a successful business by not being focused. You were focused on honing in those skills. You were focused, which is what masculine energy does. It's a go-getter. It drives you. But at the same time, we have to learn where to draw a balance and still remain feminine. Because again, if you're not able to have boundaries within yourself, that means the boundaries will be lacking in your business, and that also then translates to your relationships, romantic or otherwise. So again, it's knowing your weaknesses more than anything, and being okay with them, and being willing to fail and learn from it, because that's also part of boundaries. When you fail at something, you know that, okay, that's something I cannot cross. I know I may not be perfect at admin, but this is an opportunity for me to get on with it. This is an opportunity for me to learn a bit more. So I'm one person who loves to work on my weaknesses, because then I know they can get stronger. And then another thing as well, when it comes to boundaries, unfortunately, friendships can either make you or break you. We all know that. So friendships that don't support your vision, your business, need to go. Yeah, they do. They need to go. I've been through that process pretty much most of this year and last year, or most of this year is 3 months, and last year, where I have had to assess relationships and put them in categories, because there's 3 different categories. There is the toxic ones that you obviously don't want, and those are very easy to get rid of. You just ignore, walk away, tell them to bugger off. And then there's the ones who are really who are for you, so you don't know whether their motive is really being for you or just being there for you because they know they'll get something out of it. So that's a different bracket altogether. So you know they're for you. So that's just something you just know. And then the in-betweeners, we call them the benevolent, and the ones where you're never too sure. And as a woman, we have that thing in us where you can feel somewhat. You don't know what it is, but you just know it's just, Those are the ones that are more damaging, because you spend more time thinking and second guessing yourself. And I can't remember who the lady was who wrote a book up. It's really based on people's psychology. I will tag, if I remember later on, which says a study was done on performance, and it was based on friendships of a police crew in one state, or in one town, one city, one place. And the policemen who didn't do that well were the ones who had the majority of friends that they were always on the fence about. because that occupies your mind. It takes away your focus on where you're going, where you have to think twice whether you should tell someone something or not. So in assessing your boundaries, you get to be able to put people in those brackets so that you know who's for you and who's not for you, and the ones who are on the fence. I believe those are more dangerous than either one, the toxic or the very energetic. Those are the ones that you actually need to stay away from. Even the Bible says a double-minded man, you need to be careful of those, because they never make a decision. Ooh, got thread in my hair. Oh, yeah, I get there. Oh, miserably from fabric. But anyway, so that is it for Truth Tuesday today. And I really wanted to touch on another note as well. This whole season is very interesting for freelancers. So I will be talking about that, just working as a freelancer and the effects it has, like things like this, where most of your jobs have either been postponed or cancelled altogether, where yeah, interesting times. But thank you again for joining me for another episode of Truth Tuesday Boundary Series. So get to know who is for you and who's not for you. Get to know what is for you and what doesn't work for you. That way life is so much easier, because you've already done the process of elimination. And therefore you can focus on your goals more. Thank you so much again, like literally it's just one of those things that I've been meaning to do this for years and years and years and years and years, even before the whole video YouTube blogging thing. But you know what, sometimes it's never too late, because I've now learned so much in the time I didn't do it, and now that all the tools are available, then we can actually just get on and do it. But thank you again. Please like, subscribe, and share. Comment. You know, I know that sometimes you'll get negative comments, but you know what? Bring them on. Let's hear what you got to say. And if anything touched you, let me know. If there's anything that you want me to talk more about, let me know. But yeah. Check out my Instagram, Being Unique Purpose. Also my personal Instagram, Yusibanda. I'll try and put all the links below, and do share. And we will get into relationship boundaries as well, because that's a very deep, in-depth topic that we have to discuss, because also that involves romantic relationships. They have a very big effect on how you perform in business. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Let's go out there and be unique.